look like you get
the pictures is like, it's, that's how it's, sometimes the mega pixels
So,
are really nice.
the reason why they should low megapixel, the reason why they put low megapixel in this
camera crew. How does it feel to be on the other side of the camera? Cheers.
so like you don't find light.
Machankura.
Where's your blue shirt underneath? Oh, okay.
Oh, actually,
There's levels to the shirt.
yeah, I'm representing Kenya.
How do you feel about it?
Excited, and also I want to learn a lot in terms of like how to actually transact using Bitcoin. Because I think for the most part, people look at it as an investment, and then the whole volatility of the assets, like how does it affect you when you now lose that owner? Yeah. So I think I'm here to learn that, and I've done translations on the documentary, so I'm also here to see the actual live footage of what I've translated. Yeah.
Gambling as South Africans, I don't know why, man. It's in our blood. Bedway can shut down in every other country except South Africa and still be okay. And yeah, so for me, that's some of the reasons and some of the things I see for it. I think in SA we're gonna see markets and businesses actually embrace Bitcoin. You've already seen them embrace Bitcoin years ago. PayPal, they accept the Bitcoin. You can pay using Bitcoin on Takealot, not anymore, but you could once upon a time, and so many other services that use PayPal as a payment integration.
Start investing or getting Bitcoin like today, like right now, how would I go about doing so?
So the best thing is get paid in Bitcoin, right? So issue an invoice and say, oh, this is my Bitcoin address, send the payment to this, and nothing beats that, ever, right? Secondary way is, of course, buy Bitcoin off an exchange, whether this is your Luno or whatever else. And yeah, so you choose whichever one you are most comfortable with. We actually run a Bitcoin wallet called Machankura, but you cannot buy Bitcoin with us because we're just a wallet. Right? Our main thing is when you have a Bitcoin, what are you going to do with it? And what we want you to do is, live on Bitcoin. You can buy groceries from Pick and Pay, Checkers, and ShopRite. Using a gift voucher, and it's actually a Y code, and all these other stores as well. Right? So yeah.
Even if the price drops, let's say today, 10 years from now, it will be maybe like much better than now. Let's say you buy it now, then it falls for like 5 months. How do you assure that person that it will continue?
Yeah, personally, I don't offer any assurances. Right? We can wake up tomorrow and the price of Bitcoin is R1. So that is the reality, right? And you cannot give a person any assurance on what the price of Bitcoin will be even 10 years from now, right? It could be R1 billion, right? But at the end of the day, it's R1 billion with a probability of losing 50% of whatever value it's currently there. So I give no assurances at all. Best not to. Best you can do is tell a person only put as much as you are willing to lose in Bitcoin, or only put as much as you understand, right? So watch a documentary like this, you bought a 70 Rand ticket, buy 70 Rand worth of Bitcoin, right? Read a book like the Bitcoin Standard, I don't know how much that book is, I think 500 Rand, buy 500 Rand worth of Bitcoin. So for every Bitcoin purchase you have, tie it to some work that you do to try to understand Bitcoin. If a Bitcoin miner is 30,000 Rand, buy 30,000 Rand worth of Bitcoin, and so on and so forth. Right? So no assurances. Bitcoin can be R1 tomorrow, 10 years from now, and 100 years from now. Nobody knows. But yeah.
So I heard you say what the government is pulling based on Bitcoin.
Yes.
So imagine if a lot of us start adopting Bitcoin, and obviously that's going to be a parallel market.
Yes.
So how is that situation going to end up if right now, as they can see or maybe as they can estimate, but there's a lot of billions that are going this side. and according to the system they set up, or maybe they want a cut from that. Is that, if let's say I'm a Bitcoin owner, is that the possibility where they might actually limit it if I now end up useless, or
You decide. So this is how I've seen it. Looking at other governments, Zimbabwe being my favorite example, they had a lot of Bitcoin activity, then the government shut down the exchange, and then all of that activity went this way, right? Biggest reason is everyone, when they have Bitcoin, wants to sell it and then use the exchange good or the fiat, instead of using the Bitcoin itself. The consequence is that effectively you can go from a point of having a lot of Bitcoin in Zimbabwe to a point of having very little Bitcoin in Zimbabwe. Because once you shut down the exchange, down everyone is in the mind, hey, let me sell all my Bitcoin so that I have this paper money of this country with a failing currency so that I can spend that, instead of thinking, okay, let me see who can I find who will accept this Bitcoin, and then at a later point maybe come to me and buy something from me using Bitcoin, right? So yeah, you decide. If we do something like that in South Africa, where everything we do with Bitcoin, first and foremost, is exchange it for rands, right? The day that the government decides, okay, no, we're going to shut down the exchanges, we may end up in a situation like Zimbabwe. But then the opposite is a situation like Nigeria, where there's a big peer-to-peer market, right? In Nigeria, you can basically do anything you want with Bitcoin without an exchange, because people in the streets are willing to do an exchange with you, right? Or people on WhatsApp are willing to do an exchange with you. So if we do more peer-to-peer things like Nigeria, up, regardless of whatever the government says. If we do more exchange things like Zim, down. Especially if the government says, okay, we're going to shut down this exchange.
But personally, I think Bitcoin is the correct roadmap. Basically, 10 years from now, hopefully, Bitcoin will be a means of communication, distribution, and accessibility to all. Instant money everywhere with no lag, jet lag, any sort of interruption is basically a fraction from this one. I truly believe in
Hello, my name is Sterland. I started understanding Bitcoin ever since I was introduced to Machakura. That's when I started understanding how Bitcoin works, everything about Bitcoin. So I'm still learning, and I'm very interested to learn. Thank you.
Investment strategy, so I'm hoping to learn more. If you are still ready in the meantime. Okay, what's your thoughts on the my thoughts of the name? Yeah, the name of the movie. You know the name of the movie?
Oh yeah, so this is the other question.
The name of the movie is to dream. It's to dream. Yeah, draw to dream. Yeah, to dream. Yeah, draw to dream. Dream to dream.
Truth or dare? Dare to dream. Dare to dream.
Dare to dream. So it's a hopeful movie that gives me a chance to understand the optimistic side of as a whole, as a discovery industry. Based on the internet, based on the research I found out that it can disrupt banking as a whole. So it's a good opportunity for me to Even if the price drops, let's say today, 10 years from now, it will be maybe like much better than now. Let's say you buy it now, then it falls for like 5 months. How do you assure that person that it will continue?
Yeah, personally, I don't offer any assurances. Right? We can wake up tomorrow and the price of Bitcoin is R1. So that is the reality, right? And you cannot give a person any assurance on what the price of Bitcoin will be, even 10 years from now. Right? It could be 1 billion rands, right? But at the end of the day, it's 1 billion rands with a probability of losing 50% of whatever value it's currently there. So I give no assurances at all. Best not to. Best you can do is tell a person only put as much as you are willing to lose in Bitcoin, or only put as much as you understand. Right? So watch a documentary like this, you bought a 70 Rand ticket, buy 70 Rand worth of Bitcoin. Right? Read a book like the Bitcoin Standard, I don't know how much that book is, I think 500 Rand, buy 500 Rand worth of Bitcoin. So for every Bitcoin purchase you have, tie it to some work that you do to try to understand Bitcoin. If a Bitcoin miner is 30,000 Rand, buy 30,000 Rand worth of Bitcoin, and so on and so forth. Right? So no assurances. Bitcoin can be R1 tomorrow, 10 years from now, and 100 years from now. Nobody knows. But yeah.
So I heard you say what the government is pulling based on Bitcoin.
Yes.
So imagine if a lot of us start adopting Bitcoin, and obviously that's going to be a parallel market.
Yes.
So how is that situation going to end up if right now, you know, as they can see or maybe as they can estimate, but there's a lot of billions that are going this side, and according to the system they set up, or maybe they want a card from that. Is that, if let's say I'm a Bitcoin owner, is that the possibility where they might actually limit it to find that now they end up useless, or
You decide. So this is how I
Distribution, and accessibility to all. Instant value everywhere with no lag, any sort of interruption is basically a function of the